The Marinid dynasty of Banu Abd al-Haqq is a Sunni Muslim dynasty of Zenata Berber descent that ruled Morocco from the 13th to the 15th century. The Marinids overtook the Almohads, controlling Morocco in 1244, and briefly controlled all the Maghreb in the mid-14th century. They supported the Kingdom of Granada in Al-Andalus in the 13th and 14th centuries. An attempt to gain a direct foothold on the European side of the Strait of Gibraltar was however defeated at the Battle of Río Salado in 1340 and finished after the Castilian conquest of Algeciras from the Marinids in 1344. The Marinids were overthrown after the 1465 revolt. The Wattasids, a related dynasty, came to power in 1472. History. Origins. The Marinids were an offshoot of the Wassan, a nomadic Zenata Berber tribe originated from Ifriqiya and the Ouris Mountains that migrated to the west following the Banu invasion in the 11th century. The tribe had first frequented the area between Sijil Masa and Fez Jdid. Following the arrival of Arab tribes in the area in the 11th–12th centuries, Marinids moved to the northwest of present-day Algeria, before settling into northern Morocco by the beginning of the 13th century. The Marinids took the name from their ancestor Marinid Wartajan al-Zenata. After arriving in Morocco, they initially submitted to the Almohads, the ruling dynasty at the time. After successfully contributing to the Battle of al-Haqq in central Spain, the tribe started to assert itself as a political power. Starting in 1213, they began to tax farming communities of northeastern Morocco. The relationship between them and the Almohads became strained, and starting in 1215, there were regular outbreaks of fighting between the two parties. In 1217, they tried to occupy eastern Morocco, but they were expelled, after which they pulled back and settled in the eastern Rif Mountains. Here they remained for nearly 30 years. During the stay in the Rif, the Almohad state suffered huge blows, losing large territories to the Christians in Spain, while the Hafsids of Ifriqiya broke away in 1229, followed by the Zayanids of Tlemcen in 1235. Between 1244 and 1248, the Marinids were able to take Taza, Rabat, Saleh, Mekna and Fez from the weakened Almohads. The Marinid leadership installed in Fez declared war on the Almohads, fighting with the aid of Christian mercenaries. Abu Yusuf Yaqub captured Marrakesh in 1269. After the Nasrids ceded Algeciras to the Marinids, Abu Yusuf went to Al-Andalus to support the ongoing struggle against the Kingdom of Castile. The Marinid dynasty then tried to extend its control to include the commercial traffic of the Strait of Gibraltar. It was in this period that the Spanish Christians were first able to take the fighting to Morocco. In 1260 and 1267 they attempted an invasion of Morocco, but both attempts were defeated. After gaining a foothold in Spain, the Marinids became active in the conflict between Muslims and Christians in Iberia. To gain absolute control of the trade in the Strait of Gibraltar, from the base at Algeciras they started the conquest of several Spanish towns. By the year 1294 they had occupied Rota, Tarifa and Gibraltar. In 1276 they founded Fez Jdid, which they made their administrative and military center. While Fez had been a prosperous city throughout the Almohad period, even becoming the largest city in the world during that time, it was in the Marinid period that Fez reached its golden age, a period which marked the beginning of an official, historical narrative for the city. It is from the Marinid period that Fez's reputation as an important intellectual center largely dates. They established the first madrasas in the city and country, the principal monuments in the Medina, the residences and public buildings, date from the Marinid period. Despite internal infighting, Abu Said Uthman II initiated huge construction projects across Morocco. Several madrasas were built, the Al-Attarine madrasa being the most famous. The building of these madrasas were necessary to create a dependent bureaucratic class, in order to undermine the Marabouts and Sharifian elements in Morocco. The Marinids also strongly influenced the policy of the Emirate of Granada, from which they enlarged their army in 1275. In the 13th century, the Kingdom of Castile made several incursions into Morocco. In 1260, Castilian forces raided Salé and, in 1267, initiated a full-scale invasion of Morocco, but the Marinids repelled them. At the height of the power, during the rule of Abu al-Hasan Ali, the Marinid army was large and disciplined. It consisted of 40,000 Zenata cavalry, while Arab nomads contributed to the cavalry and Andalusians were included as archers. The personal bodyguard of the Sultan consisted of 7,000 men, and included Christian, Kurdish and black African elements. Under Abu al-Hasan another attempt was made to reunite the Maghreb. In 1337 the Abbasid kingdom of Tlemcen was conquered, followed in 1347 by the defeat of the Hafsid Empire in Ifriqiya, which made him master of a huge territory, which spanned from southern Morocco to Tripoli. However, in 1340 the Marinids suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of a Portuguese-Castilian coalition in the Battle of Río Salado, and finally had to withdraw from Andalusia, only holding on to Algeciras. In that same year a revolt of Arab tribes in southern Tunisia made them lose their eastern territories. In 1348 Abu al-Hasan was deposed by his son Abu Inan Faris, who tried to reconquer Algeria and Tunisia. Despite several successes, he was strangled by his own vizier in 1358, after which the dynasty began to decline. After the death of Abu Inan Faris in 1358, the real power lay with the viziers. While the Marinid sultans were paraded and forced to succeed each other in quick succession, the county was divided and political anarchy set in, with different viziers and foreign powers supporting different factions. In 1359 Hintata tribesmen from the High Atlas came down and occupied Marrakesh, capital of their Almohad ancestors, which they would govern independently until 1526. To the south of Marrakesh, Sufi mystics claimed autonomy, and in the 1370s Azemmour broke off under a coalition of merchants and Arab clan leaders of the Banu. To the east, the Zianid and Hafsid families re-emerged, and to the north, the Europeans were taking advantage of the Moroccan instability by attacking the Moroccan coast. Meanwhile, unruly wandering Arab Bedouin tribes increasingly spread anarchy in Morocco, which accelerated the decline of the empire. In the 15th century Morocco was hit by a financial crisis, after which the state had to stop financing the different Marabouts and Sharifian families, which had previously been useful instruments in controlling the country. The political support of these Marabouts and Sharifians halted, and Morocco splintered into different entities. In 1399 Tetuan was taken and its population was massacred, and in 1415 the Portuguese captured Ceuta. After the Sultan Abdulhaq II tried to break the power of the Wat of Sids, he was executed. Marinid rulers after 1420 came under the control of the Wat of Sids, who exercised a regency as Abd al-Haqq II became sultan 1 year after his birth. The Wattasids, however, refused to give up the regency after Abd al-Haqq came to age. In 1459, Abd al-Haqq II managed a massacre of the Wattasid family, breaking the power. His reign, however, brutally ended as he was murdered during the 1465 revolt. This event saw the end of the Marinid dynasty as Muhammad ibn Ali Amrani Juti, leader of the Sharifs, was proclaimed Sultan in Fez. He was in turn overthrown in 1471 by Muhammad ibn Yahya al-Sheikh, one of the two to the surviving Wattasids from the 1459 massacre, who instaured the Wattasid dynasty. Chronology of events: 1215, the Banu Marin attacks the Almohads when the 16-year-old Almohad Caliph Yusuf II al-Mustanzir comes to power in 1213. The battle takes place on the coast of the Rif. In the reign of Yusuf II al-Mustanzir, a great tower is erected to protect the royal palace in Seville. 1217, Abd al-Haqq dies during victorious combat against the Almohads. His son Uthman ibn Abd al-Haqq succeeds to the throne. Marinids take possession of the Rif and seem to want to remain there. The Almohads counterattack in vain. 1240, Uthman I is assassinated by one of his Christian slaves. His brother Muhammad ibn Abd al-Haqq succeeds him. 1244, Muhammad I is killed by an officer of his own Christian mercenary militia. Abu Yahya ibn Abd al-Haqq, the third son of Abd al-Haqq, succeeds him. 1249, severe repression of anti-Marinid forces in Fez. 1258, Abu Yahya ibn Abd al-Haqq dies of disease. His uncle, Abu Yusuf Yaqub ibn Abd al-Haqq, fourth son of Abd al-Haqq, succeeds to the throne. 1260, the Castilians raid Saleh. 1269, seizure of Marrakesh and the end of Almohad domination of the western Maghreb. 1274, the Marinids seize Sijil Massa. 1276, founding of Fez Jdid, a new city near Fez, which comes to be considered a new district of Fez, in contrast to Fez el-Bali. 1286, Abu Yusuf Yaqub ibn Abd al-Haqq dies of disease in Algeciras after a fourth expedition to the Iberian Peninsula. His son Abu Yaqub Yusuf an-Nasr replaces him. 1286, Abu Yaqub Yusuf an-Nasr combats revolts in and around the Draa River and the province of Marrakesh. 1288, Abu Yaqub Yusuf an-Nasr receives in Fez the envoys of the King of Granada, to whom the town of Cadiz is returned. 1291, construction of the Mosque of Taza, the earliest preserved Marinid building. 1296, construction of Sidi Boumadine Mosque, or Sidi Belhassen in Tlemcen. 1299, beginning of Tlemcen's siege by the Marinids, which will last 9 years. 1306, conquest and destruction of Taroudant. 1307, Abu Yaqub Yusuf an-Nasr is assassinated by a eunuch in connection with some obscure matter related to the harem. His son Abu Thabit Amir succeeds to the throne. 1308, Abu Thabit dies of disease after only 1 year in power in Tetuan, a city which he has just founded. His brother, Abu al-Rabi Sulayman, succeeds him. 1309, Abu al-Rabi Sulayman enters Ceuta. 1310, Abu al-Rabi dies of disease after having repressed a revolt of army officials in Taza. Among them is Gonzalve, chief of the Christian militia. His brother Abu Said Uthman succeeds him to the throne. 1323, construction of the Atarans Madrasa in Fez. 1325, Ibn Battuta begins his 29-year journey across Africa and Eurasia. 1329, the Marinids defeat the Castilians in Algeciras, establishing a foothold in the south of the Iberian Peninsula with the hope of reversing the Reconquista. 1331, Abu Said Uthman dies. His son Abu al-Hasan ibn Uthman succeeds him. 1337 – First occupation of Tlemcen. 1340 – The combined Portuguese-Castilian army defeats the Marinids in the Battle of Río Salado, close to Tarifa, the southernmost town of the Iberian Peninsula. The Marinids return to Africa. 1344 – The Castilians take over Algeciras. The Marinids are ejected from Iberia. 1347 – Abu al-Hasan ibn Uthman destroys the Hafsid dynasty of Tunis and restores his authority over all the Maghreb. 1348 – Abu al-Hasan dies. His son Abu Inan Faris succeeds him as Marinid ruler. 1348 – The Black Death and the rebellions of Tlemcen and Tunis mark the beginning of the decline of the Marinids, who are unable to drive back the Portuguese and the Castilians. 1350 – Construction of Bohemia's madrasa in Mekna. 1351 – Second seizure of Tlemcen. 1357 – Defeat of Abu Inan Faris in front of Tlemcen. Construction of another of Bohemia's madrasas in Fez. 1358 – Abu Inan is assassinated by his vizier. A time of confusion starts. Each vizier tries to install weak candidates on the throne. 1358 – Abu Zian is said Muhammad ibn Faris is named sultan by the viziers, just after the assassination of Abu Inan. His reign lasts only a few months. Abu Yahya Abu Bakr ibn Faris comes to power, but also reigns only a few months. 1359 – Abu Salam Ibrahim is nominated sultan by the viziers. He is one of the sons of Abu al-Hasan ibn Uthman and is supported by the King of Castile, Pedro. 1359 – Resurgence of the Zianids of Tlemcen. 1361 – Abu Umar Takfin is named the successor to Abu Salam Ibrahim by the viziers, with the support of the Christian militia. He reigns only a few months. 1361 – The period called the Reign of the Viziers ends. 1362 – Muhammad ibn Yaqub assumes power. He is a young son of Abu al-Hasan ibn Uthman, who had taken refuge in Castile. 1366 – Muhammad ibn Yaqub is assassinated by his vizier. He is replaced by Abu Faris al-Aziz ibn Ali, one of the sons of Abu al-Hasan ibn Uthman, who until this time had been held locked up in the palace of Fez. 1370 – Third seizure of Tlemcen. 1372 – Abu Faris al-Aziz ibn Ali dies of disease, leaving the throne to his very young son Muhammad as-Said, beginning a new period of instability. The viziers try on several occasions to install a puppet sovereign. 1373 – Muhammad as-Said is presented as the heir to his father, Abu Faris Abdulaziz ibn Ali, but being only 5 years old cannot reign, and dies in the same year. 1374 – Abu al-Abbas Ahmad, supported by the Nasrid princes of Granada, takes power. 1374 – Partition of the empire into two kingdoms, the Kingdom of Fez and the Kingdom of Marrakech. 1384 – Abu al-Abbas is temporarily removed by the Nasrids. The Nasrids replace him with Abu Faris Musa ibn Faris, a disabled son of Abu Inan Faris. This ensures a kind of interim during the reign of Abu al-Abbas Ahmad from 1384 to 1386. 1384 – Abu Zayd Abd ar-Rahman reigns over the Kingdom of Marrakech from 1384 to 1387, while the Marinid throne is still based in Fez. 1386 – Al-Haqq ensures the second part of the interim in the reign of Abu al-Abbas from 1386 to 1387. 1387 – Abu al-Abbas begins to give viziers more power. Morocco knows 6 years of peace again, although Abu al-Abbas benefits from this period to reconquer Tlemcen and Algiers. 1393 – Abu al-Abbas dies. Abu Faris Abd al-Aziz ibn Ahmad is designated as the new sultan. The troubles which follow the sudden death of Abu al-Abbas in Tazza make it possible for the Christian sovereigns to carry the war into Morocco. 1396 – Abu Amir Abdullah succeeds to the throne. 1398 – Abu Amir dies. His brother, Abu Said Uthman ibn Ahmad, takes power. 1399 – Benefiting from the anarchy within the Marinid kingdom, King Henry III of Castile arrives in Morocco, seizes Tetuan, massacres half of the population and reduces the rest to slavery. 1415 – King John I of Portugal seizes Ceuta. This conquest marks the beginning of overseas European expansion. 1418 – Abu Said Uthman besieges Ceuta but is defeated. 1420 – Abu Said Uthman dies. He is replaced by his son, Abu Muhammad Abd al-Haqq, who is only 1 year old. 1437 – Failure of a Portuguese expedition to Tangier. Many prisoners are taken and the infant Fernando, the Saint Prince, is kept as a hostage. A treaty is made with the Portuguese enabling them to embark if they return Ceuta. Fernando is kept as a hostage to guarantee the execution of this pact. Influenced by Pope Eugene IV, Edward of Portugal sacrifices his brother for national trade interests. 1458 – King Afonso V of Portugal prepares an army for a crusade against the Ottomans in response to the call of Pope Pius II, but he instead uses the army to attack a small port located between Tangier and Ceuta. 1459 – Abu Muhammad Abd al-Haqq revolts against his own Wattasid viziers. Only 2 brothers survive, who will become the first Wattasid sultans in 1472. 1462 – Ferdinand IV of Castile takes over Gibraltar. 1465 – Abu Muhammad Abd al-Haqq appoints a Jewish vizier, Aaron ben Battash, provoking a popular revolt. The Sultan dies in the revolt when his throat is cut. The Portuguese King Afonso V finally manages to take Tangier, benefiting from the troubles in Fez. 1472 – Abu Abdullah Sheikh Muhammad ibn Yahya, one of the 2 Wattasid viziers surviving the 1459 massacre, installs himself in Fez, where he founds the Wattasid dynasty. Marinid rulers 1215 to 1269. Leaders of the Marinids engaged in a struggle against the Almohads based in Tazza from 1216 to 1244. Abd al-Haqq Uthman I Muhammad I. Since 1244, Marinid emirs based in Fez Abu Yahya ibn Abd al-Haqq Umar Abu Yusuf Yaqub 1269 to 1465. Marinid sultans of Fez and Morocco: Abu Yusuf Yaqub, Abu Yaqub Yusuf, Abu Thabat Amir, Abu al-Rabi Sulayman, Abu Said Uthman II, Abu al-Hasan Ali, Abu Inan Faris Muhammad II As-Said, Abu Salim Ali II, Abu Umar Tashfin, Abu Zayyan Muhammad III, Abu el-Faraz Abdul Aziz Muhammad As-Said, Abu al-Abbas Ahmad, Abu Zayyan Muhammad IV, Muhammad V, Abu al-Abbas Ahmad Abdul Aziz II, Abdullah Abu Said Uthman III, Abd al-Haqq II. Bibliography. Julien, Charles André, Histoire de l'Afrique du Nord, des origines et 1830, édition originale 1931, re-edition Payot, Paris, 1994. Marinid dynasty at Britannica.